Hello and welcome to another Dyno challenge and another Peugeot 106. This is a Peugeot 106. So basically, people who watch this channel a lot will know that probably the most common type of car that's ever gone on the rollers here is, well, it's the Peugeot 106 platform, whether that be a Citroen AX or a Citroen Saxo or either of the 106 variants. These are by far the most common types of car I play with, because I'm surrounded by them. But what I've never done is put a 1 litre on the dyno. This is a 1 litre. This is a TU9 engined Peugeot 106. It is the lowest power version of a petrol 106 that you could get. And I want to know, is this going to do a dump it? You want context. Okay, so dump it is my 1.1 litre Peugeot 106, a 2002 car, so it makes it a Series 2 106. This is a Series 1 with an earlier front end and an slightly earlier everything else. Basically, the 1.1 litre in dump it massively outperformed. Yeah, it did do quite well. I managed to squeeze 70 horsepower out of it by removing a pipe. And even without the pipe being removed, it was still on sort of 67, 68. It's only supposed to make 60. It's not just a 1.1. There was a 106 Series 2 Rally, a white one, which I put down as Dump It AI on the board, and that made 116. It was only supposed to make somewhere between 103 and 105. So there seems to be an ongoing pattern of Peugeot underquoting their cars. And it's not just the Peugeot versions either. The Saxo went on here. My wife's Saxo is a VTR, but it has a VTS engine in it, so it has the 16 valve version of the 1600 engine that's in the Rally. And that made, well, the best it ever made. On the leaderboard, it was actually down as 128. The leaderboard's not there anymore. I don't know why I'm doing that. It was down as 128, but it's actually, I'm pretty sure it's done 132. So we're going to have to redo that one and find out what the actual number is. But that's only supposed to make 120. So we've got all these cars overperforming by 10 horsepower. Now, not all of them do. The AX GT I had, well, I'm going to let that one off. The AX GT I had produced 88, I think. 88, 89, but it had done 250,000 miles, so it wasn't 10 more than standard, but it had done 250,000 miles, so that did quite well. Saxo Fierio, that was a 1.4, that did 79, that was its best, but it wasn't running 100%, so I think another Fierio might potentially do a little better. It was struggling with the heat. So there seems to be a bit of a pattern where they all overperform, but some overperform massively, and some overperform a little bit, but none of them have underperformed. Now, what I want to know is, does the 1 litre follow suit? I'm also treating 106s as Pokemon. I'm trying to catch them all, because once I've done this one, that means the only ones I haven't done are 1.4 and 1.5 litre diesels. So if you've got an AX, Saxo or 106, 1.4 or 1.5 litre, in the case of the later 106 or Saxo, diesel engined TUD cars, hit me up, because once I've done them, I've done all of them. But basically, this is the only 1 litre I've put on the dyno so far. But one of the main reasons for dyno in this car, aside from the fact it is a dear little chap, look at it, isn't it cute? It's got a blown head gasket, so that could be quite funny. I think this is the first car to go on the dyno knowingly with a blown head gasket. Now, the lighting in here and everything is a bit iffy at the moment. You'll have to excuse me. I've had to shut the doors because some people are outside working, making noise. Bastards! Now, the difference with the 1 litre over the 1.1 is the engine. That's not as insightful as it sounded. But the 1 litre is the only TU-engined petrol car, or in fact TU-engined car, that has a short stroke engine. So that means the bore is wider than the stroke, and that means this is basically a racing car. And before all the little 106 neeks get up in the comments and go, oh, hang on, you are right. There is another 106 Saxo TU engine car that has a short stroke engine, and that is the Series 1 Rally, the only other version. So basically, that is a Series 1 Rally, isn't it? It's nearly. So I'm strapping the car on at the moment, and there is oil gushing out from the front of the engine. So if we have a quick look under the bonnet here, oh, I like the OEM retaining lip. If it looks stupid, but it works, it's not stupid. So basically, yes, this is the TU9 engine, and it is a short stroke. So what that means is, obviously, if you've got a piston travelling up and down in a cylinder, there are two measurements that go together to make the CC of the engine. It's the stroke, how far it travels in millimetres, and the bore, the width of the piston in millimetres. Most TU engines have a longer stroke than the width. Most of them have, like the 1.4, I think, is 77 mil stroke, but 75 mil bore. This one is, it's the other way around. I can't remember the numbers. But basically, the stroke is shorter than the bore. What it effectively means is basically you've got an engine that is slightly less torquey, but slightly happier to rev. It will rev higher, it's zingier, it will make its power higher at the rev range, and it will be more responsive to the throttle. And this car does actually produce its peak power at 6,000 RPM, standard out the box. I'm pretty sure that's higher than a Saxo VTR. So its book figure is 50 bhp in DIN figures, and 54 pound-foot of torque. 50 bhp at 6,000 revs. Now, in a car that weighs 750 kilos, you might laugh at 50 horsepower, but the fact it's so lightweight, well, apparently makes no difference at all. The owner, Leah, tells me that it is, she said it's very slow, to the point she's thinking of changing the engine. It's that slow, even with 750 kilos. But yeah, apart from that, now this car should have, also, I remembered that when I was looking down at it, it should have a 4-speed box. It still has a 4-speed lever, but it now has a Saxo VTR box because the 4-speed box died. Must be all the power. But effectively, yeah, this is the cheapest, most miserly, most economical version of a TU engine car that you could get that was petrol, not diesel. So I'm intrigued. Is this going to do a dump it and produce sort of, well, 10 more than it's meant to? Or is it going to be more like the 1.4s, where it doesn't make that much more than it's meant to? It's kind of a little bit more, but not much. Or is it going to be underperforming and be the first TU engine ever to fail on the dyno? Probably time to find out. Right, come on, you little cherub. I was waiting for VTEC to kick in, but it never did. I've got to be honest, didn't feel very powerful. I think, yeah, I don't think it's going to be doing a dump it. I think it's quite a bit down, but it seemed quite happy to rev. It seemed quite zingy and quite happy, and the power curve looked quite flat at the top, but let's find out. Oh, okay, not bad. At 6,000 exactly, although that's because it had a bit of a fart. But we'll do it again in a minute. But so it's made more than it was meant to. It felt pretty good, and it is good. That's a nice I mean, that's quite if anything, that's a bit of a sort of graph that's more symptomatic of a long stroke engine. But it's a nice broad curve. They're a bit fluffy at the bottom here. I think when it's got single point injection, and it is a little bit dicky on these, but it's probably not quite right there. But it's distributorless, so the timing we know is going to be good. It was only measuring 38 of the wheels. 38 horsepower. I hope that tyre can handle it. Hey, that's not bad. It's basically, it's not disgraced itself. It might be sort of funny to look at 55 and laugh, but it hasn't disgraced itself at all. That's nearly 6 more than it's meant to have. And it's spot on the revs, but I think that's more luck than judgment. So we'll do another one. Hang on, how many miles has it done? 79,000 miles, and I did rev it out all the way to 6:30. I don't think it's going to be a case of needing some kind of Italian tune-up though, because the lady who owns it, I think it probably gets driven quite hard. I think she likes a bit of well, I think she likes thrashing her cars. There's no other way to put it. So, yeah, I mean, well, that's probably quite telling because it's nice. Seems quite healthy. Seems quite healthy. Right, let's do another run. Right, run 2. 56, but it did have a bit of a, yeah, it had a bit of a flap on the way up. I think that might have been because the RPM sensor lost signal very, very briefly. 56 at 5.5. So basically, yeah, it's not quite happy, is it? Largely the curve is all right. I think these discrepancies might actually be the dyno rather than the car. 62 pound-foot at 3.5, just over at the fly. At the wheels, that's going to look a little bit different potentially because, wow, that's low, 141. But one of the reasons this thing is revving so fast, I mean, admittedly, with the standard gearbox, actually with the standard gearbox, it might be going faster than that. It might even have a taller fourth gear, but it's got a VTR box in, and a VTR, you'll think, oh, a VTR is a hot hatch or warm hatch, it'll have short gearing. No, they're quite long. The gearing is the same as a VTS or a 106 GTI, but the final drive is much taller because the engine only revs to 6,000. In fact, I did actually try revving this out, and it hadn't died off completely. It was still going. It wasn't pulling, but it was maintaining it. But I have a plan. This car has a dump pit pipe, and you might be looking at this going, what are you talking about? I'll explain. A dump pit pipe is this thing here. It restricts the air intake. Now, I'm not entirely sure the reasons for this. Some people will say, oh, it's for torque, it's for low down torque. It slows the air down, makes the engine draw harder, that improves low down torque. The engine is being tuned more for low down drivability to get better economy, better, you know, flexibility at low revs. It's not a racing machine. It's not a sports version. It's not a hot hatch. If it was, it wouldn't have that. Okay, I hear you. That's fine. But my thoughts on that are, for the engine to pull vacuum, for the engine to have its air intake slowed down, surely the throttle butterfly does that. Surely the butterfly controls how much is coming through. The only thing I can see that this would do is slow the air down going into the air filter, which would make it quieter at low revs. So at low revs, higher throttle loadings, I think if you took that pipe off and put a straighter one on it, it would be a bit more, it would just be slightly deeper, more induction-y, you know, sound. That's a real word, by the way, induction-y sounding. I can't help but think that's all that's doing. I don't know if I'll be able to take this off or not. I don't want to rip up her original. I mean, she did say she's going to take this out. I don't want to break the cable ties because they're the OEM ones. But we could run it without, and I can't even text her because she's watching Mufasa at a cinema. So she did say this engine's coming out. They're putting a 1.6 in it. They don't like how slow it is. It's already got 4-stud conversion, which gives you a better option for things like, well, maybe not tyres, but it's easier to get parts for the 4 studs, and obviously you can have better shocks and springs and whatnot. So I kind of get why you'd do that. But I don't know, me personally, I think it's such a rare car. You don't see models like this don't normally get saved. I think I'd probably keep it original, but then it's not my car. So, yeah, anyway, getting sidetracked. So that's come off. So that's meant to go in there. So this is already... Oh, I'll see if I can take it off. Hang on. Whole thing's out. I'm going to leave the bonnet open. I did that with dump it. Basically, I took out dump it, my 1.1. My overloaded 1.1. Dump it produced about, I think it was 1 or 2 horsepower more without that pipe on. So, I mean, if I could get this up to 60, then I'd basically have a 1 litre doing what a 1.1 is supposed to do, and a 1.1 almost doing what a 1.4 is supposed to do. And it would just be funny. So yeah, I'll try it with this. It might suck in a bit of hot air if I shut the bonnet. So I'm going to leave it open for this run. Well, just to see what happens, really. Right, my gut feeling there is that it didn't feel like it made any difference at all, but by that time I revved it out and it went all the way around, so we hit the limiter. Are we ready? Wow! It made a difference! That's 2 horsepower! Torque probably about the same, but that's made a difference. So what that really needs is just a nice straight pipe down to pick up some cold air, and then whatever the hell this diaphragm thing is, this would be the hot cold thing, won't it? But that's not even fitted, so it's not taking any hot air off the manifold. Hey, that's not bad. So once again, you say, well, what does it count like because you've modified the car? And I say my rule is with these dyno runs, you can make adjustments to the car. These aren't parc ferme conditions. You can make adjustments to the car on the dyno, right? But, and this would count as a standard car. And you'll see why on the website later on when the lists come out, when the dyno pages go live. Because we're going to have standard and modified classes, but this would count as standard because it is a standard car. It's just we've taken a pipe off, so it's not modified. It'll be modified if we put a different air filter in it, if we change the throttle body, if we, you know, put a different element in the airbox or change the trunking from the airbox to the throttle body or something like that. But all we've done is taken a standard part off. In fact, we haven't even taken it off. Look. It's still connected. So that is basically, yeah. The dump pit pipes are allowed to be removed. This car just did 58 horsepower.